The departure board at LAX flickered again, and Maya Bennett felt her chest tighten. Flight 1847 to Chicago. Aircraft swap. Gate change to C-18. She looked down at Ava, 3 years old and very interested in the wheels of their borrowed stroller, a clinic hand-me-down with one wheel that squeaked every third rotation. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Mama, why are we running? We're not running, baby. We're walking with purpose. Maya hitched her backpack higher. The zipper was held together with a safety pin. Everything she owned seemed to be held together with safety pins lately. Her phone buzzed. She didn't need to look to know it was the rent reminder. 3 days late. The late fee would hit tomorrow. She pushed the thought away and focused on gate C-18, which was, of course, at the far end of the terminal. Ava's little legs were tired. Maya's arms were tired. Her whole body was tired, if she was honest. But there wasn't time for tired. There was only time to get on that plane, get back to Chicago, and make her Monday clinical rotation in pediatrics. If she missed it, she'd have to make it up, which meant rearranging the cafe shifts she desperately needed, which meant, "Excuse me. Sorry. Excuse me." She maneuvered the squeaking stroller through the crowd. Gate C-18 was chaos. Families pressed against the desk. A gate agent with a tight smile handed out printed seat assignments. The aircraft swap meant new seats, new configurations, and about 200 irritated passengers trying to figure out where they were supposed to sit now. Maya joined the line. Ava balanced on her hip now because the stroller took up too much space. Her lanyard swung against Ava's back. Student nurse, pediatrics, Northwestern Memorial Hospital. She'd worked so hard for that lanyard. 15 minutes later, she had 2 boarding passes. Middle seats, separated by 12 rows. She stared at them. Ava couldn't sit alone. She was 3. "Excuse me," she said to the frazzled gate agent. "My daughter's 3. We can't sit apart." "I understand, ma'am, but the swap was last minute. We'll prioritize receipts for parents with young kids once boarding settles. If swaps don't cover it, we'll intervene." Maya's stomach nodded, but she nodded. Arguing wouldn't help. She'd figure it out. She always did. Across the gate area, Adrian Cole stood with his hands in his pockets, watching the board like it might personally explain itself. Seat reassignment. 12B. He'd booked first class. He always booked first class. The swap obliterated that plan, and now he was in coach, row 12, middle seat. His assistant had tried to fix it remotely, but there were no first-class seats left. The flight was packed. "Daddy, I don't like this airport." Adrian looked down at Theo, 4 years old, holding a stuffed giraffe with one ear chewed off, wearing the expression Adrian had come to recognize as pre-meltdown. "I know, buddy. We'll be on the plane soon. But I don't like planes. I know. My ears hurt on planes. I know." Adrian crouched to eye level, the thing his therapist had drilled into him. "We'll do the yawning thing, remember? And I brought gum. Gum makes my jaw tired." "Okay, no gum. We'll figure something else out." They boarded in group 3. Adrian carried Theo. The crowd was overwhelming, and Theo had already buried his face in Adrian's shoulder. Row 12, middle seat. Adrian buckled Theo, then folded himself into 12B. 6'2" did not belong in a middle seat. The businessman in 12C nodded once and put in earbuds. As boarding bottlenecked, a college kid in a hoodie pointed between his 12D and Maya's 26E. "My friends are back in 26. Want to swap?" "Please," Maya said. 2 rows up, the kind older woman patted 14C for Ava. A flight attendant leaned over. "This puts your daughter just 2 rows ahead and close to us. We'll try to seat you together after takeoff." Maya slid into 12D, close enough to keep eyes on Ava in 14C. She opened her banking app. Why did she do this to herself? 127.43. Rent $1,600. Late fee $75, NCLEX $200. She tucked the phone away as the plane started to taxi. In row 12, Theo's breaths were already too fast. "Daddy, my ears." "We're not in the air yet, bud. Your ears are okay right now. But they're gonna hurt. We'll handle it when it happens. I don't want them to hurt." Adrian tried distraction. "Hey, when we get home, pancakes, you crack the eggs." "I don't want pancakes. I want my ears to not hurt." The engines roared. The plane accelerated. Theo's whimper became a cry. "Daddy, no. I don't want to. I don't want to go up." He kicked the seat in front. The passenger scowled. Adrian mouthed, "Sorry." The cry tipped into a scream. Maya heard it from across the aisle. Not a tantrum. Fear. She unbuckled, against regulations, and leaned into the aisle. A flight attendant caught her eye, a quick nod. "Go ahead. Stay low." "May I help?" she asked the man, low and steady. "I'm a pediatric nurse extern." "Yes. Please." His eyes were gray, exhausted, grateful. She crouched. "Hi, sweetheart. I'm Maya. What's your name?" "Theo," he sobbed. "That's a great name." "Okay, Theo, your ears hurt because the air is pushing on them. I know a trick. Big lion yawns, like this." She opened wide, moved her jaw side to side. Theo copied. Pop. "Perfect. Again and again. Now a game. Smell the flower." She mimed a long sniff. "And blow out the candle." She blew through a straw from her bag. Sniff, blow, sniff, blow. His breathing began to match hers. "One more thing. Tent time." She draped her faded navy cardigan over Theo's head and shoulders, making a little cave. "Once upon a time, there was a brave kid named Theo who went on an adventure in the sky." The rhythm did the rest. Hands unclenched, shoulders dropped. By the time the seatbelt sign dinged off, he was leaning against his father's arm, heavy-eyed. "You did so good, Theo," Maya whispered, easing the cardigan back. "Can you stay?" he murmured. "I have to sit over there, sweetheart. But your dad's right here." She handed the father the straw. "If his ears hurt again, have him blow through this. Jaw yawns help. A lollipop works too." He took it like it was sacred. "Thank you. Thank you." Maya made her way back to 12D, pausing at 14C to squeeze Ava's hand. Ava grinned. Her seatmate, a middle-aged woman with a paperback, gave her an approving nod. "That was kind of you." Maya just smiled, exhausted. Her phone buzzed. Rent reminder. She closed her eyes. An hour into the flight, the pilot's voice crackled over the intercom. "Folks, we've got some weather ahead. We're going to need to divert to Kansas City. Should be about an hour on the ground, then we'll continue to Chicago. We apologize for the inconvenience." Groans rippled through the cabin. Maya's stomach dropped. An hour delay meant missing her connection to sanity, to sleep, to a Monday morning clinical she couldn't afford to miss. But there was nothing to do but wait. The plane landed in Kansas City just after midnight. The terminal was half closed, fluorescent lights buzzing over empty gate areas. Maya collected Ava, who was sleepy and confused. The kind older woman handed her over with a smile. "She's a sweetheart. Thank you for sitting with her." "My pleasure." At the desk, agents were harried and apologetic. Hotels were booked solid. Conference weekend. The airline handed out hotel vouchers first come. After a long shuffle, Maya got one for the smallest room. Check-in wouldn't open for 2 hours, so she ducked into the family restroom, changed Ava into pajamas, and camped by the gate to wait. Ava curled into her lap. "Mama, I'm tired." "I know, baby. Close your eyes." Ava did. Maya didn't. She watched the terminal. A few other stranded passengers milled around. The businessman from 26B bought a sandwich from a vending machine. The teenager with the giant headphones sprawled across 3 chairs. And then she saw him, the man from row 12. He was walking toward the family restroom area, Theo on his hip. The little boy was crying again, not screaming, just a low, exhausted keen. Maya stood, gently shifting Ava to a row of chairs. "Excuse me," she called softly. The man turned. Recognition flickered. "Oh, hi. Is he okay?" The man, God, she didn't even know his name, looked frayed. "He's overwhelmed. New place, too many lights, and I think he's hitting a wall. I don't know how to." He stopped, shook his head. "I'm sorry. You've already done so much." "The family restroom has a nursing room attached," Maya said. "It's quieter, dimmer lights. I was just in there." He exhaled. "Thank you. Do you want help? I don't mind." He hesitated, then nodded. "If you're sure." "I'm sure." The nursing room was small but blessedly quiet. Soft lighting, a rocking chair, a changing table. Maya shut the door, and the airport noise faded. Theo was still whimpering. Maya knelt down. "Hey, Theo, remember me?" He nodded, face blotchy. "We're going to do a reset, okay? That means we're going to make everything calm again. Can you sit in this chair?" Theo climbed into the rocking chair. His father stood nearby, watching. "Okay," Maya said gently. "Let's do the breathing game again. Smell the flower, blow out the candle." Theo did it, shaky at first, then steadier. "Good. Now, let's make your body calm. Squeeze your hands really tight, like you're holding a snowball, and then let go. Feel how your hands get warm." Theo squeezed, released. His shoulders dropped an inch. Outside the door, Ava's small voice called, "Mama?" "I'm right here, baby." The door cracked open. Ava peeked in, clutching her plush llama, a scruffy gray thing with mismatched button eyes. She saw Theo and patted over. He sat. "A little," Maya said. Ava held out the llama. "He can borrow." Theo looked at the llama, then at Ava. He took it, slowly. Ava smiled, and for the first time all night, Theo smiled back. Maya glanced at the father. He was staring at his son like he'd just witnessed something impossible. "Kids are good at this," Maya said quietly. He nodded, cleared his throat. "I'm Adrian, by the way." "Maya." "Thank you, Maya, for all of this." "You're welcome." They sat in the quiet for a moment. Theo rocked gently, holding the llama. Ava leaned against Maya's leg. Adrian spoke again, voice low. "I don't know what I'm doing. With him. With nights like this." Maya met his eyes. She saw exhaustion there, and honesty. "You're doing fine," she said. "You're here. That's what matters." He didn't look convinced. "Can I ask what usually helps him at home?" Adrian ran a hand through his hair. "I have a nanny, Rosa. She's amazing. She handles days, but nights travel. I'm still figuring it out. I've had full custody for 6 months. Before that," he paused. 3-year separation. Divorce finalized in February. Maya nodded. She didn't pry. "His mom sees him on holidays," Adrian added. "It's better this way. For him." "That sounds hard." "It is." He looked at Theo, who was whispering something to the llama. "But I want to get better at this, at being enough for him." Maya nodded. She didn't pry. Adrian glanced at Ava, who was arranging the llama's legs carefully on the floor. "Is her dad?" Maya followed his gaze. "Not in the picture. We dated in college. I got pregnant senior year and he..." She paused, choosing her words. "He wasn't ready. I was. So I finished my degree, had Ava, and we've been a team ever since." "Does he see her?" "Twice a year, maybe. Birthday card. He's not a bad guy, just not a dad. She said it without bitterness, like she was describing the weather. Adrian nodded slowly. That sounds hard. It is. Maya smiled, a small, real thing. But we're good. She's happy. That's what matters. Maya understood how he felt. The weight of being enough. You're already enough, she said. You just need some tools, like the breathing game, sensory breaks, predictability. Adrian looked at her. You're really good at this. I work in pediatrics, clinical rotations. I'm finishing my BSN. That's impressive. Maya shrugged. It's survival. Something in her tone made Adrian pause, but he didn't ask. They sat a while longer. Theo's eyes closed. Ava yawned. I should get her back to the gate, Maya said. Right, of course. Adrian stood, carefully lifting Theo, who was half asleep now. They walked back together, a strange little group in an empty terminal. At the gate, Adrian stopped. Maya, he said, if I could ask you something. She waited. I need help, with nights, with travel, with learning how to do this without Rosa or... He stopped, took a breath. Would you consider coaching me? I'd pay you, your rate, whatever's fair. Maya blinked. Coaching? Just teaching me what you do. The techniques. I don't want to keep fumbling through this. And you're... He gestured helplessly. You're really good. Maya's mind spun. She thought of the rent notice, the NCLEX fees, the cafe shifts that barely covered groceries. She needed the money. God, she needed the money. But taking money from a stranger, even for legitimate work, felt complicated. Let me think about it, she said carefully. Of course, no pressure. He pulled a card from his wallet. Plain, no title. Just a name and a number. If you want to. She took the card. Thank you again, he said, for tonight. You're welcome. He walked away, Theo's head on his shoulder. Maya looked at the card. Adrian. No last name. She tucked it into her pocket. Ava tugged her hand. Mama, can we go home now? Soon, baby. Soon. They curled up on the terminal chairs. Maya set an alarm on her cracked phone. 3 hours until boarding. She thought about the card in her pocket. She thought about the way Adrian had looked at his son, love and helplessness in equal measure. She thought about her bank account, and then she closed her eyes and tried to sleep. The next morning, Maya stood in the airport hotel lobby with Ava on her hip and a complimentary coffee that tasted like cardboard in her hand. The airline had rebooked them on a noon flight. 6 more hours. Her phone buzzed. A text from the cafe. Hey, can you cover Jenna's shift Saturday? She's sick. Maya typed back, yes. She always said yes. Yes, kept the lights on. Ava squirmed. Mama, I'm hungry. I know, baby. Let me get you something. Maya eyed the hotel breakfast buffet. $12 per person. $24 for both of them. She had a granola bar in her bag and a bruised apple. That would do. She was heading toward the exit when she heard a voice behind her. Maya? She turned. Adrian stood near the elevator, Theo's hand in his. The little boy looked better, rested, calm. He was wearing a fresh t-shirt with a dinosaur on it, and his hair was neatly combed. Hi, Maya said. Hi. Adrian smiled, and it changed his whole face. He looked younger, less like a man barely holding it together. We're heading to breakfast. Would you and Ava join us? My treat. Maya hesitated. Please, Adrian added. I owe you about 100 meals after last night. Ava perked up. Mama, pancakes? Maya looked at her daughter's hopeful face, then at Adrian's. There was no pity in his expression, just an invitation. Okay, she said. Thank you. The hotel restaurant was half empty. They found a table by the window, Theo climbed into a booster seat without protest, and Ava sat beside him, swinging her legs. Adrian ordered for everyone: pancakes for the kids, eggs, and toast for the adults. And when the food came, Theo carefully cut his pancakes into small, even squares before eating. "He likes things predictable," Adrian explained quietly. "That's good," Maya said. "Predictability helps kids feel safe." Theo looked up. "I like squares." "Squares are great," Maya agreed. Ava held up a triangle of pancake. "I like triangles." Theo considered this. Triangles are okay. Adrian watched them, something soft in his expression. They ate in easy quiet for a while. Then Adrian spoke. "I meant what I said last night, about the coaching." Maya set down her fork. "I've been thinking about it." "And?" She chose her words carefully. "I don't want this to be charity." "It's not," Adrian said immediately. "It's work. You'd be teaching me skills I don't have. That's worth paying for. And if it doesn't help, then I'll have learned something anyway." He leaned forward slightly. "Maya, I'm not good at this. At nights, at travel, at..." He gestured at Theo, who was arranging his bacon into a line. "At knowing what he needs before he melts down. Rosa's amazing, but she's not there at 2 a.m. when he wakes up scared, or on a plane when everything's too loud. I need to learn, and I think you can teach me." Maya looked at Theo, then at Ava, who was sneaking a piece of bacon onto Theo's plate because she'd noticed he'd eaten all of his. She thought about her rent, her NCLEX fees, the cafe shifts that never quite added up. "Okay," she said, "but we do this my way. I'm not on call, I'm not a nanny, I'm a consultant. You pay me hourly and we set boundaries." Adrian nodded. "Your terms, whatever you need." Maya pulled a napkin from the dispenser and borrowed a pen from the waiter. She wrote quickly, "Coaching sessions, 2x per week, 2 hours each. Rate, 50 per hour. No emergency calls, no overnights. Payment via invoice, end of each week." She slid the napkin across the table. Adrian read it. Then he pulled out his own pen and added a line. "Travel sessions, if needed. 75-hour plus expenses covered." He slid it back. Maya blinked. "That's generous. It's fair." She looked at the napkin. 4 sessions a week at $50, $200. That was her NCLEX fee. That was groceries for 2 weeks. That was breathing room. "Okay," she said. "Deal." Adrian held out his hand. Maya shook it. His hand was warm, steady. She let go quickly. The noon flight was uneventful. Theo sat between Adrian and Maya. Adrian had quietly paid to switch seats, and when the plane climbed, Theo did the jaw exercise without being asked. "Good job, bud," Adrian said. Theo grinned. Ava, 2 rows back with the same kind older woman, waved at them. Theo waved back. When they landed at O'Hare, Adrian helped Maya with her bags. "When do you want to start?" he asked. "Monday?" Maya suggested. "After my clinical rotation." "Monday works. I'll text you my address." He pulled out his phone, and Maya gave him her number. Her cracked screen and peeling case looked shabby next to his sleek device, but he didn't seem to notice. "Thank you, Maya," he said. "Really?" "You're welcome." She collected Ava, and they headed toward the train. Adrian and Theo walked toward the parking garage. Maya didn't look back, but Adrian did. Monday evening, Maya stood in the elevator, watching the floor numbers climb. 14, 18, 22, 26. The elevator opened directly into a penthouse. Her stomach dropped. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the Chicago skyline. A Steinway piano sat in the corner. Modern art, actual gallery pieces, not prints, lined the walls. The kitchen had marble countertops and chef-grade appliances. A doorman downstairs had greeted Adrian by name and waved Maya through like she was expected. He's rich, not comfortable, not well off. Rich. Adrian appeared from a hallway, Theo trailing behind him. Maya, come in. Sorry, I should have warned you about the elevator. It's key-carded. I'll get you access. Maya stepped inside, Ava's hand tight in hers. She kept her face neutral, professional. Nice place, she said mildly. Adrian looked almost embarrassed. It's too big. But the school Theo's starting in the fall is nearby, so. He trailed off. Theo tugged Adrian's sleeve. Can we show Ava my room? Sure, bud. Go ahead. Theo took Ava's hand and led her down the hall. Maya set her bag down. Her canvas tote looked out of place on the marble floor. Adrian cleared his throat. Can I get you anything? Water? Coffee? Water's fine. He poured 2 glasses from a filtered dispenser and handed her one. So, he said, where do we start? Maya pulled out a small notebook, spiral-bound, dog-eared. We start with transitions. That's what Theo struggles with most, right? Leaving one activity, starting another. Bedtime, getting in the car, leaving the house. Adrian nodded. Yeah, he digs in, or he panics. That's normal for kids who crave predictability. We're going to build routines with visual cues. Timers, countdowns, songs, anything that makes the transition predictable. She walked him through it. A visual timer for bath time, a 5-song playlist for the bedtime routine, a laminated checklist with pictures for getting dressed in the morning. Adrian took notes on his phone, nodding. Try it tonight, Maya said. I'll come back Wednesday and we'll adjust. Okay. They walked to the hallway where the kids were playing. Theo had built a block tower. Ava was handing him blocks one at a time, very seriously. Maya smiled. She's a good helper. He's never played with another kid like this, Adrian said quietly. Usually he shuts down. She's gentle. He feels safe. Adrian looked at Maya. You're really good at this. I've had practice. Wednesday evening. Maya arrived at 6:30. Rosa, a warm woman in her 50s with kind eyes and graying hair pulled into a bun, was just leaving. You must be Maya, Rosa said, smiling. Mr. Cole mentioned you'd be helping with the evenings. Just coaching, Maya clarified. You're still here 8 to 6, every weekday, Rosa said, waving a hand. Don't worry, he needs the nights. I've been telling him that for months. She leaned in conspiratorially. He listens to you. That's good. Maya smiled. I'll do my best. Rosa patted her arm and left. Adrian emerged from the kitchen, sleeves rolled up, looking slightly frazzled. Okay, I tried the visual timer last night. It worked for bath time, but bedtime was a disaster. What happened? He wouldn't stay in bed, kept getting up, said he needed water, then a different stuffed animal, then the hallway light on. Then, he was testing boundaries, Maya said. That's normal. Let's add a bedtime pass system tonight. A what? He gets 1 pass per night. If he needs something after lights out, he hands you the pass. After that, you stay firm, quiet, boring, no engagement. Eventually, he'll stop testing. Adrian looked skeptical but willing. Okay, let's try it. They did the routine together. Bath with the visual timer, 5 minutes, all done. Then pajamas. Theo picked between 2 pairs, then 3 books his choice, but only 3. Then lights out. Maya handed Theo a laminated card with a star on it. This is your bedtime pass. If you need something after Daddy says goodnight, you give him this card, but you only get 1. Okay? Theo held the card like it was treasure. 1. Okay. Adrian tucked him in, kissed his forehead. Good night, Bud. Good night, Daddy. They left the room. 10 minutes later, Theo appeared in the hallway. I need water. He held out the bedtime pass. Adrian took it, filled a small cup, brought it to Theo's room. Here, now back to bed. Theo drank, climbed into bed. Another 10 minutes passed. Theo appeared again. You used your pass, bud, Adrian said calmly. Back to bed. But, back to bed. Theo's face crumpled. Maya tensed, ready to step in, but Adrian stayed calm. Boring, no negotiation. Theo trudged back to his room. Silence. Adrian and Maya waited in the living room. 5 minutes, 10, 15. No Theo. Adrian exhaled. He's asleep. Maya grinned. See? It works. Adrian ran a hand through his hair. I can't believe it actually worked. Consistency works. You just have to stick with it. They sat on the couch, a careful 2 feet of space between them. The city glittered outside the windows. Coffee? Adrian asked. Sure. He made 2 cups from an espresso machine that probably cost more than Maya's rent and handed her one. They talked about Theo's progress, about Ava's upcoming preschool transition, about Maya's clinical rotation. She was working with kids recovering from surgery, learning pain management protocols. That sounds intense, Adrian said. It is, but I love it. How much longer until you graduate? 1 semester, then the NCLEX, then hopefully a job. You'll get one. You're incredible. Maya looked at him. The compliment was simple, but it landed somewhere warm in her chest. Thanks, she said quietly. Their eyes held for a beat too long. Adrian cleared his throat, looked away. So, same time Friday? Yeah, Friday. She stood, collected her bag. At the door, Adrian touched her arm, light, brief. Thank you, Maya, for all of this. You're welcome. She left. In the elevator, she let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. Don't, she told herself. Don't even think about it. But she was already thinking about it. By Friday, Theo's bedtime routine was running like clockwork. Bath, pajamas, 3 books, lights out. He'd used his bedtime pass once in 3 days. Adrian was beaming. This is a miracle, he said. It's not a miracle, Maya said, laughing. It's routine. Ava and Theo were in Theo's room, reading Goodnight Moon together. Or rather, Ava was reciting it from memory while Theo turned the pages. Adrian and Maya stood in the kitchen. He was washing dishes. She was drying. It felt domestic, easy. So, Adrian said, I owe you for this week. I'll send an invoice tomorrow. You don't have to wait. I can Venmo you now. Invoice is fine. Keeps it professional. He nodded, handed her a plate. Their fingers brushed. Neither of them moved. Maya looked up. Adrian was closer than she'd realized. Close enough that she could see the faint scar above his left eyebrow. Close enough that she could smell his cologne, something cedar and clean. Maya, he said, voice low. Her heart kicked. And then Ava's voice called from the other room. Mama, snack please. They stepped apart. Maya laughed, shaky. Duty calls. Yeah. She went to get Ava a snack. Her hands were trembling slightly. Get it together, she told herself. But when she glanced back, Adrian was watching her, and he didn't look away. Adrian stood in his kitchen after Maya left, still feeling the ghost of her hand brushing his. He wanted to help her, really help her. He'd noticed things. The way she'd hesitated at the hotel breakfast before he offered to pay. The way her phone screen was cracked, held together with a case that was splitting at the corners. The way she'd checked her banking app in the airport terminal and her whole body had tensed. Maya was struggling, and he had resources. He sat down at his laptop and searched Premium Childcare Chicago. KinderCare Elite came up first. Waitlist usually 6 months. But Adrian knew the regional director. 1 email, and Ava had a spot. He pre-registered her, paid the deposit, and saved the access codes in a folder. He'd give it to Maya next week, a bonus, a thank you for all her help. She'd been so clear about boundaries, about keeping things professional. But this wasn't charity, it was compensation. She was saving him hours of stress, teaching him skills he'd used for years. This was just fair, right? He closed the laptop, satisfied. The next morning, Adrian sat at the head of the Coal Dynamics boardroom table, a wall of glass behind him framing the Chicago skyline. 12 board members faced him, half in person, half on screens mounted along the opposite wall. He was proposing the caregiver-friendly policy pilot. Flexible hours, childcare stipends, upgraded lactation rooms, emergency backup care credits. We've run the projections, Adrian said, advancing the slide. Companies with robust family support see 18% lower turnover, 22% higher engagement scores, and measurably better output quality. Marcus Chen, the CFO, nodded. The data's solid. But Gerald Whitmore, 68, old guard, 3 divorces, leaned back in his chair with a tight smile. It's also expensive and soft. We're not a daycare, Cole. We're a tech firm competing in a cutthroat market. We're a company made of people, Adrian said evenly. People who have kids, people who need support. This isn't soft, it's smart. It's sentimental, Whitmore shot back. And sentiment doesn't win acquisitions. The room went quiet. Adrian held his gaze. Then we'll build instead of buying. I'd rather grow sustainably than burn out our best people chasing quarterly targets. Whitmore's jaw tightened. Careful, Cole. The acquisition vote is in 3 weeks. Miss that, and the board might decide you're not the right fit for this seat. Adrian didn't flinch. Noted. The meeting adjourned shortly after. As Adrian gathered his materials, Marcus caught his arm. You okay? Yeah. Whitmore's gunning for you. I know. Marcus hesitated. For what it's worth, I think the pilot's a good idea. My wife would kill me if I didn't say so. Adrian smiled faintly. Thanks. He left the building and headed home. Theo had a half day at his trial preschool program. Rosa would bring him back by 2. But as Adrian stepped into his car, his phone buzzed. A text from his head of communications, Simone. Simone, we have a situation. Call me. Adrian's stomach dropped. Across town, Maya sat in the clinic break room, halfway through a peanut butter sandwich, reviewing flashcards for her pharmacology exam. Ava was at preschool until 3. Her phone buzzed on the table. A text from Jenna, her co-worker at the cafe. Jenna, girl, is this you? Attached was a link. Maya clicked it. A gossip blog. The headline read, Coal Dynamics CEO spotted with mystery woman and kids, new nanny or new romance? Below it, a photo. Kansas City Airport, Adrian holding Theo. Maya beside him, Ava's hand in hers. The angle was blurry, but recognizable. Maya's chest tightened. The article speculated, sources say the woman may be Adrian Cole's new nanny, though the intimate body language suggests otherwise. Cole, recently divorced from actress Vanessa Hale, has kept a low profile since taking full custody of his 4-year-old son. Could this mystery woman be more than hired help? Maya read it twice. Then she scrolled to the comments. She looks broke, lol. Definitely the nanny. He'd never date down like that. Gold digger alert. Her stomach turned. She closed the browser and set her phone down, hands shaking. Dr. Patel, her supervisor, walked past the break room, glanced in, and paused. Her eyes flicked to Maya's phone. The screen was still lit, the blog post visible. Dr. Patel's expression shifted. Concerned, cautious. She didn't say anything. just kept walking. But Maya knew. She'd signed a media clause when she started her extern placement. No press engagement, no public controversy. Any media exposure related to the program must be disclosed immediately. She hadn't disclosed this because she hadn't known about it. But ignorance wouldn't matter. Maya pulled out her phone and texted Adrian. Maya, we need to talk. The photo. His response came in seconds. Adrian, I know. I'm so sorry. My team is handling it. Maya, handling it how? Adrian, Simone's drafting a statement. Low-key. No names. Just clarifying that you're not a nanny, not a girlfriend. Just someone who helped Theo on the flight. Maya, no statement. No names. Nothing. Adrian, Maya, if we don't say something, the story will keep growing. Maya, I signed a media clause. If my supervisor thinks I'm courting press, I lose my placement. My entire final semester. Do not make this worse. A long pause. Adrian, understood. I'll tell Simone to kill it. Maya, thank you. She set her phone down. Her sandwich tasted like sawdust. That evening, Maya arrived at Adrian's condo for their scheduled session at 6:30, Ava in tow. Her face was carefully neutral, but Adrian could see the tension in her shoulders the moment the elevator doors opened. Maya, not in front of them, she said quietly, nodding toward Theo and Ava, who were already heading to Theo's room. Adrian nodded. They went through the motions. Dinner routine, bath time, bedtime, everything smooth, practiced. But the air between them was tight, like a string pulled too taut. When the kids were finally asleep, Maya sat on the couch and pulled out her phone. She showed Adrian an email. From Dr. Patel, Pediatric Extern Supervisor Subject, Media Clause Reminder. Maya, I wanted to remind you of the Media and Social Engagement Clause you signed at the start of your placement. Any public attention related to your role here or any affiliation that might reflect on the program must be disclosed to me immediately. Please confirm receipt of this email and let me know if there's anything we need to discuss. Best, Dr. Patel. Maya looked at Adrian. She saw the blog post. She didn't say it directly, but she saw it. Adrian's jaw tightened. I told Simone not to release anything. Did she listen? I think so. Let me check. He pulled out his phone, opened his email, and scrolled. Then he stopped. His face went pale. What? Maya asked. He turned the phone toward her. A press release from Cole Dynamics Communications, published 2 hours ago. Statement regarding recent travel photos. Cole Dynamics CEO Adrian Cole would like to clarify that recent photos circulating online depict a brief interaction with a fellow passenger who kindly assisted his son during a travel disruption. The individual in question is not employed by Mr. Cole and requests privacy. Cole Dynamics asks that media outlets respect this request and refrain from further speculation. Maya read it, then read it again. You said no statement, she said, voice low. I told Simone not to, but she did anyway. Maya, it doesn't name you. It's vague. It's protecting you. It's a story, Maya said, standing. It's a story that ties me to you, to your company, to this. She gestured at the penthouse. And now my supervisor has a statement from a Billionaire's PR team to reference if she wants to pull me from the program. Adrian stood too. I'll call her. I'll explain. I'll fix this. You can't fix this, Adrian. Her voice cracked slightly. You can't throw money at it or release another statement. This is my career, my entire future, and you just made it harder. I was trying to protect you. I didn't ask for protection. I asked you to do nothing. Maya, I need to go. She grabbed her bag. Ava was asleep in Theo's room. Maya gently scooped her up. Ava stirred but didn't wake. Maya, Please, Adrian said. Let me. You've done enough. She left. The elevator doors closed. Adrian stood in his empty penthouse, staring at the spot where she'd been. He wanted to follow her, to fix it. But Maya's words echoed in his head. You can't fix this, Adrian. So he didn't chase her. He put Theo to bed. Visual timer, 3 books, lights out. Theo asked where Maya and Ava were. Adrian said they'd gone home. Theo's face fell, but he didn't argue. After Theo was asleep, Adrian sat in his darkened kitchen, staring at his phone. The condo was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of traffic 26 floors below. He reread Maya's last text. You can't fix this, Adrian. He'd heard those words before. 3 years ago, during the separation. Vanessa had said almost the same thing. You don't collaborate, Adrian. You just solve. I'm not a problem you can throw resources at. I needed a partner, not a project manager. He'd gone to therapy after that, learned about control, about presence, about listening instead of fixing. But here he was, doing it again. He'd seen Maya struggling financially, so he'd tried to fix it. Not by asking what she needed, by deciding for her. He pulled open the drawer beside the stove and found the folder, the one he'd prepared days ago. Premium childcare registration for Ava. Deposit paid, access codes printed and ready to hand over. He'd thought he was being thoughtful, generous. Now he saw it for what it was. Control dressed up as generosity. She said coach, not controlled. He closed the folder and shoved it to the back of the drawer. Then he opened his laptop and Googled Community Parenting Classes, Chicago. If he wanted to learn how to be a better father, a better person, he needed to do it without leaning on someone else to save him. He found a Saturday morning class at a community center on the north side. Basic stuff. Toddler emotions, discipline without yelling, co-regulation techniques. He signed up. Then he went to Theo's room. Theo was asleep, but restless. His hand kept reaching for the spot on the pillow where he usually kept the scruffy gray llama Ava had lent him. Daycare had lost it 2 days ago during outdoor play, and Theo had been devastated. He'd barely slept since. Adrian had searched the playground himself. No luck. Now he sat on the floor beside Theo's bed and pulled out his phone. He Googled how to sew a stuffed animal. He didn't have the original llama, but he had an old cashmere sweater in the donation pile. Soft, gray. He had a sewing kit Rosa kept in the kitchen drawer, and he had time. It took Adrian 3 hours and cost him 2 needle pricks and 1 moment of genuine frustration when the thread knotted for the 5th time. But by 2 in the morning, he had something. It was lumpy. The stitches were uneven. One leg was slightly shorter than the others, and the stuffing, pulled from an old throw pillow, created odd bulges in places. But it was gray, it was soft, and it was made with his own hands. He set it on Theo's nightstand and went to bed. When Theo woke up Saturday morning and saw it, his whole face lit up. Daddy, you made this? Adrian, exhausted and running on 4 hours of sleep, nodded. I did. I know it's not the same as Ava's, but Theo hugged it tight. I love it. Adrian's throat tightened. Can we call it Llama 2? Theo asked. Sure, bud. Llama 2. Theo carried it to breakfast, showed Rosa, who'd just arrived to start her Saturday shift because Adrian had the parenting class, and Rosa smiled warmly. You did good, Mr. Cole. Adrian didn't feel like he'd done good, but he'd tried. And for once, he hadn't tried to buy a solution. He'd made one. Later that morning, Adrian sat in a circle of folding chairs at the North Side Community Center, surrounded by parents who looked just as tired as he felt. The facilitator, a woman named Keisha, with kind eyes and 2 decades of early childhood experience, walked them through co-regulation techniques. It was humbling. Half of what she taught, Maya had already shown him. But he listened, took notes, asked questions. And when the class ended, he didn't feel fixed. He felt like he was finally starting to learn. On Sunday afternoon, Maya stood in the cereal aisle of the grocery store, Ava sitting in the cart, when she heard a familiar voice. "Maya?" She turned. Rosa stood there, holding a basket of produce, smiling warmly. "Hi, Rosa." "Hi." Rosa's smile softened. "How are you?" "I'm okay." Rosa tilted her head, reading between the lines. "You're not coaching anymore." Maya hesitated. "It's complicated." "I know about the photo," Rosa said gently. "Mr. Cole told me. He feels terrible. It's not his fault." "Maybe not, but he's learning." Rosa set her basket down. "Can I tell you something?" Maya nodded. "I've worked for him for 2 years," Rosa said. "He's a good man. But he's used to solving things with money, with control. It's how he survived in business. But it doesn't work with people." "I know." "He's trying to change," Rosa continued. "He went to a parenting class yesterday, by himself. And he made Theo a stuffed animal because the daycare lost the one Ava lent him. It's lumpy and terrible, but Theo loves it." Maya's chest tightened. "I'm not saying you should go back," Rosa said. "That's your choice. But I wanted you to know, he's learning, and he's doing it without asking you to fix him." Rosa squeezed Maya's hand and left. Maya stood in the cereal aisle for a long moment, staring at nothing. Then she put back the name brand box she'd picked up and grabbed the store brand instead. She still had rent to think about. The next morning, Maya was called into Dr. Patel's office at noon. Her stomach was in knots as she sat down. Dr. Patel folded her hands on her desk. "I saw the statement from Cole Dynamics." Maya's throat tightened. "I didn't seek out press. I helped a child on a flight. Someone took a photo without my knowledge." "I believe you." Dr. Patel's voice was measured. "But perception matters. This program has strict media policies because our patients' families trust us with their privacy. If an extern is in the news, even tangentially, it reflects on us." "I understand." "So here's what I need from you," Dr. Patel said. "No further media engagement. If anything else comes up, you tell me immediately. And if this situation escalates, we may need to pause your placement until it resolves." Maya's heart sank. "Pause? For how long?" "However long it takes. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm saying it could." Maya nodded, numb. "Understood." Dr. Patel's expression softened slightly. "You're a strong extern, Maya. Your clinical skills are excellent. I saw how you handled the post-op kid last week. Caleb, the tonsillectomy follow-up. That was textbook de-escalation." Maya blinked. "You saw that?" "I observe all my externs. You're good at this. Don't let outside noise derail you." Dr. Patel leaned forward. "Keep your clinical judgment front and center, and the rest is just noise. You're solid, Bennett." Maya felt something loosen in her chest. "Thank you. Now get back to work." Maya stood, shaky with relief. She still had her placement, for now, and she'd earned it herself. Back home that evening, Maya stared at her phone for a full minute before she typed the text. "Maya, how's Theo doing?" She was sitting on her couch, Ava asleep in her room, the apartment quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. It was late, almost 10, but she couldn't stop thinking about what Rosa had said in the grocery store. He made Theo a stuffed animal. He went to a parenting class. By himself. Adrian's reply came quickly. "Adrian, better. Had a rough fever night last week, but we got through it." Maya's chest tightened. He hadn't called her, hadn't texted, hadn't asked for help, and she was surprised by how much that stung. She typed back before she could overthink it. Maya, I'm glad he's okay. Do you have everything you need? Thermometer? Fever protocol? Adrian, I think so. Rosa helped me stock up. Maya, good. That's good. She set her phone down. Picked it up again. Maya, I'm bringing some things over tomorrow, just to make sure. A pause. Adrian, you don't have to do that. Maya, I know. I'll see you around 11. She didn't wait for a response. The next morning, Maya stood outside Adrian's building with a canvas bag full of supplies. A medical-grade thermometer, a printed fever guide she'd pulled from the clinic's parent resources, a glass container of homemade chicken soup still warm from her stove. Ava squeezed her hand, bouncing slightly. Theo's house. Can we see his room? We'll see, baby. Let's say hi first. The doorman recognized Maya and waved them through with a warm smile. When the elevator opened into the penthouse, Adrian was standing in the kitchen, sleeves rolled up, washing dishes. Theo was at the kitchen table, coloring quietly with thick crayons, his tongue poking out in concentration. Ava peeked out from behind Maya's legs, suddenly shy. Then Theo looked up, his whole face transformed. Ava! Ava's shyness evaporated. Theo? You came back. Theo scrambled down from his chair, and the two of them ran toward each other like they'd been separated for years instead of weeks. Within seconds, they were sprawled on the living room floor, Theo showing Ava his coloring book, Ava pointing out which colors he should use next. Maya's throat tightened. She looked up and met Adrian's eyes across the room. He was watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. Relief, caution, longing. Hi, he said quietly. Hi. She held up the bag, trying to sound normal. I brought some things, just in case. Thank you. He dried his hands on a towel and walked over. He was wearing jeans and a soft gray Henley, barefoot. His hair was slightly mussed, like he'd been running his hands through it. He looked tired. He looked real. Maya's pulse kicked up. Stop it, she told herself. She set the bag on the counter and started unpacking, needing something to do with her hands. This is a better thermometer than the drugstore ones. More accurate. And this guide has red flag symptoms, when to call the pediatrician, when to go to the ER. I laminated it so you can keep it somewhere visible. Adrian picked up the guide, studied it carefully. This is really thorough. I made it for parents at the clinic, figured you could use one too. Thank you. His voice was soft, genuine. She pulled out the glass container, still warm. I made soup, chicken, my mama's recipe. Their fingers brushed as she handed it to him. Both of them froze. The air between them went tight, charged. Maya pulled her hand back quickly, her skin tingling where they'd touched. Just heat it on the stove. Low heat. Don't microwave it or it'll get weird. I won't. He was still looking at her, and the intensity of it made her skin warm. She cleared her throat and stepped back, putting the counter between them like a barrier. So, how was the fever night? Walk me through it. They sat at the kitchen island, and Adrian explained everything. The timeline, the temperature readings, the fluids, the breathing exercises, the decision to cancel the board vote and stay home. Maya listened, nodding at the right moments. You did everything right. I wanted to call you, he admitted, his voice low. About a dozen times. Why didn't you? Because I needed to know I could do it myself. That I wasn't just leaning on you to save me every time things got hard. Maya's throat tightened. That's growth. Yeah. He looked at her, really looked at her. But I missed you while I was doing it. I kept thinking about what you would say, how you would handle it. You were there even when you weren't. The words hung in the air between them, heavy with meaning. Maya didn't know what to say. Her heart was pounding too hard. From the living room, Ava called out, "Mama, come see. Theo drawed a dinosaur." Maya stood quickly, grateful for the interruption. "Coming, baby." The afternoon stretched on in a way that felt both easy and unbearably tense. They made lunch together, grilled cheese and tomato soup. The kids ate at the coffee table, watching a nature documentary about penguins, their heads tilted at the same angle. Maya and Adrian sat at the kitchen island, plates in front of them, hyper-aware of every small movement, every accidental brush of elbows. "This feels familiar," Adrian said quietly. "Yeah. I hate that we're being careful around each other." Maya set down her sandwich. "I don't know how not to be." "Me neither." They were quiet for a moment. Then Adrian said, "There's something I need to tell you. Something I did that I shouldn't have. But I don't want to do it here with the kids around. Can we talk later? After they're asleep?" Maya's stomach flipped. "Okay. Will you stay? For dinner?" She should say no. She should take Ava and leave, and protect the fragile boundaries she'd worked so hard to build. But she didn't want to. "Okay," she said again. Dinner was pasta with butter and parmesan, Theo's favorite. The kids ate messily, giggling over something only they understood, their little legs swinging under the table in sync. Maya helped clean up while Adrian gave Theo a bath, and she could hear their voices down the hall, Theo's high and happy, Adrian's patient and warm. When Theo was in his pajamas, he appeared in the kitchen doorway, holding Llama 2, his damp hair sticking up in every direction. "Will you read me a story?" he asked Maya, his eyes wide and hopeful. Maya glanced at Adrian. He nodded, something soft in his expression. So she sat in the rocking chair in Theo's room. Theo curled up in bed with Llama 2 tucked under his chin and read "Goodnight Moon" in a soft, steady voice. She made it dramatic, whispered the quiet parts, emphasized the rhythm, and Theo's eyes grew heavier with each page. By the end, he was asleep, his breathing deep and even. Adrian stood in the doorway, watching. When Maya stood and tiptoed out, pulling the door almost closed behind her, Adrian whispered, "Thank you. He's a sweet kid. He missed you." I missed him too, Maya thought. I missed this. They put Ava down in the guest room. Adrian had kept the toddler bed set up from the coaching days, and the room smelled faintly of lavender. Ava was asleep before Maya finished the second book, curled on her side with her small hand tucked under her cheek. And then it was just the two of them. They sat on the couch, a careful foot of space between them, the city glittering outside the floor-to-ceiling windows. The condo was quiet except for the distant hum of traffic far below. Adrian turned to face her, and Maya could feel the weight of what he was about to say. "Okay," he said. "I need to tell you this." Maya's heart was pounding. "I'm listening." A few weeks ago, before everything fell apart, I registered Ava at a premium daycare, Kinder Care Elite. I paid the deposit. I got the access codes. He pulled out his phone, opened an email, handed it to her. "I did it without asking you. I convinced myself it was a bonus, fair compensation for your work. But it wasn't. It was me trying to fix your life without your consent." Maya stared at the email, her throat going tight. The deposit amount alone was more than she made in a month at the cafe. "I know I was wrong," Adrian continued, his voice low and urgent. "And I know you might not want it now, but the registration is still active. The spot is still there. And honestly, Maya, even knowing I overstepped, even knowing you might hate me for it, I still think it could help you. Your schedule's about to get brutal when you start as an RN. The daycare is 10 minutes from your apartment. It's good. It's safe. The staff-to-child ratio is exceptional. And if you want it, it's yours. No strings. If you don't, I'll cancel it today and you never have to think about it again. Maya looked at him. Really looked at him. His jaw was tight. His hands were clenched on his knees. He was terrified. "Why are you telling me now?" she asked. "Because I can't move forward with a lie between us. And because I'm trying to be honest, even when it's hard. Even when I'm scared you'll walk away." Maya handed the phone back slowly. "I need to think." "Of course. But thank you for telling me." They sat in silence for a moment, the tension stretching between them like a live wire. Then Maya said, "It's late. I should get Ava and—" "Stay," Adrian said quickly. Then, softer, "Please, it's late. Ava's asleep. You're both welcome to stay the night." Maya hesitated. The thought of being here overnight, in his space, under the same roof, felt— "The guest room is fully set up," Adrian added, reading her hesitation. "It's got the toddler bed Ava used before. You'd have your own bathroom, your own space. I'll be in my room. You won't even know I'm here." That last part was a lie, and they both knew it. Maya's mind spun. Tomorrow was Saturday, her day off. No clinical rotation, no shift at the cafe. Just 2 full days with Ava before the week started again. She could stay. She could. But should she? Adrian was watching her, waiting, not pushing. "Okay," she said finally. "We'll stay." Adrian gave her a t-shirt and sweatpants to sleep in, soft, well-worn, smelling faintly of cedar and laundry detergent. They were too big on her, the sleeves falling past her hands, the waistband of the pants rolled 3 times. Maya changed in the guest bathroom, washed her face with the expensive face wash he'd left out, and stared at herself in the mirror. "What are you doing?" She didn't have an answer. When she came out, Adrian was setting a glass of water on the nightstand in the guest room. Ava was sprawled across the bed, snoring softly, one small hand flung over her head. "If you need anything." "I know. Thank you." Their eyes held. Adrian's gaze dropped to her mouth, just for a second, then back up. Maya's breath caught in her throat. "Good night, Maya," he said, his voice rough. "Good night." He left, closing the door softly behind him. Maya climbed into bed beside Ava, pulled the blanket up, and stared at the ceiling. Her heart was racing. She could still feel the weight of his gaze, the way the air had shifted when they stood too close in the kitchen, the way her body had wanted to lean into him, close the distance, stop being careful. This is dangerous, she thought. This is how you get hurt. But God, she wanted it anyway. Down the hall, Adrian lay in his bed, king-sized, too big, too empty, staring at the dark ceiling. He could still see Maya in his t-shirt, hair loose around her shoulders, barefoot in his home like she belonged there. He wanted her to belong there. He wanted her to stay, not as a coach, not as an employee, as his. But he couldn't push, couldn't control, couldn't fix. He had to let her choose. Even if she chose to leave. Please don't leave, he thought. And then, more honest, please stay. The next morning, Maya woke to the smell of coffee. Ava was still asleep beside her, one small hand flung over her head. Sunlight streamed through the guest room window, soft and golden, painting everything warm. Maya padded out into the kitchen barefoot, still wearing Adrian's clothes. Adrian was at the stove, making scrambled eggs, his back to her. He was wearing jeans and a white t-shirt, his hair still mussed from sleep. He turned when he heard her, and his face softened immediately. "Morning," he said. "Morning." He poured her a cup of coffee, Black, the way she liked it. Somehow he'd remembered and handed it to her. Their fingers brushed again. This time, neither of them pulled away. The touch lingered, deliberate, charged. Maya looked up at him, and the distance between them felt impossible to hold. "Maya," Adrian said quietly, "I meant what I said last night. About being honest. About wanting to do this right. I know. But I need you to know something else." He set down his mug and took a step closer, then another, until they were inches apart. "I don't want to be careful with you anymore. I don't want to pretend I don't feel this." Maya's breath hitched. "Adrian, I know you're scared. I'm scared too. But I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere." His voice dropped, rough and honest. "Just don't run. Not yet." She closed the final gap, resting her forehead against his chest. Adrian's arms came around her immediately, holding her like she was something precious. His chin rested on the top of her head, and for a moment, they just breathed together, synchronized, steady. "I don't know what to do with this," Maya whispered against his shirt. "You don't have to know yet," Adrian murmured into her hair. "Just stay. Just stay." She didn't answer, just held on a little tighter, her fingers curling into the fabric of his shirt. They stood like that for a long moment, too long, not long enough, until Maya finally, slowly, pulled back. Her eyes were bright, conflicted. "I need to go," she said. "I need to think." "Okay." She gathered Ava, who woke up groggy and happy, asking if they could have pancakes with Theo, thanked Adrian for letting them stay, and left. In the elevator, Ava leaned against her leg and asked, "Is Mr. Adrian our family now?" Maya's throat tightened. "I don't know, baby," she whispered. "I don't know." But part of her, the part that was terrified and hopeful in equal measure, wanted the answer to be yes. 3 days passed. Maya threw herself into her clinical rotation, 12-hour shifts in the pediatric unit, back-to-back patients, charting until her eyes blurred. She came home exhausted, made Ava dinner, read her stories, and collapsed into bed. She didn't text Adrian. He didn't text her. But she thought about him constantly, the way he'd held her in his kitchen, the rough honesty in his voice. "I don't want to be careful with you anymore." The way her body had fit against his like it belonged there. And that was the problem. She'd spent the morning after leaving his penthouse on the train, Ava dozing against her shoulder, staring out the window at the city passing by. His neighborhood, Lincoln Park, with its tree-lined streets and historic brownstones, had given way to her neighborhood, South Side, with its corner stores and chain-link fences. 2 different worlds. She'd seen the way the doorman had greeted Adrian by name, the way everything in his home was effortless and expensive. The espresso machine that cost more than her rent, the automatic blinds, the art on the walls that was definitely not from Home Goods. And then there was her. Cracked phone screen, secondhand stroller, dollar store dish soap under her sink. How did that work? How did she step into his world without losing herself? She kept thinking about the daycare registration, the premium spot he'd secured with a single phone call and a deposit that would have taken her 6 months to save. He'd meant well. She believed that now. But it was a reminder of how easy things were for him, how he could solve problems with money that she had to solve with grit and sacrifice. What happened when the novelty wore off? When he realized she didn't fit into his world of galas and board meetings and whatever else billionaires did? What happened when he got tired of slowing down for her? "This is how you get hurt," she reminded herself. "This is how you lose yourself." But the reminder felt hollow. Because despite everything, despite the fear, despite the gap between their worlds, she wanted him. And that terrified her most of all. Across town, Adrian sat in his office, staring at his phone. It had been 3 days since Maya left his apartment. 3 days since he'd held her in his kitchen and felt, for the first time in years, like he was exactly where he was supposed to be. 3 days of silence. He'd drafted a dozen texts and deleted them all. I miss you. Too much. Can we talk? Too vague. I'm sorry. For what? He hadn't done anything wrong this time. He'd been honest, vulnerable. He'd told her the truth, and she'd walked away anyway. Marcus knocked on his door. You okay? Yeah. You sure? Because you've been staring at that quarterly report for 20 minutes and haven't turned a single page. Adrian closed the folder. I'm fine. Marcus leaned against the doorframe. This about the woman? The one from the photo? Adrian didn't answer. For what it's worth, Marcus said. I've never seen you like this. Distracted, yeah. But not... He gestured vaguely. Whatever this is. What is it? Marcus smiled. In love, probably. Adrian's chest tightened. You should call her, Marcus said. I texted. She didn't respond. Then text again, or show up, or do something other than sitting here looking miserable. Marcus left. Adrian stared at his phone. Then he typed. Adrian, I miss you. He stared at it for a long moment, then deleted it. He tried again. Adrian, can we talk? Really talk. Not about coaching or contracts or mistakes. Just us. If there's an us. He hit send before he could second guess it. Maya was putting Ava to bed when her phone buzzed. She read the message 3 times. If there's an us. Her chest ached. She wanted there to be an us. God, she wanted it so much it scared her. But wanting wasn't enough. Trust was harder. And trusting that she could step into his world without losing herself, that was the hardest part. Still, he'd been honest with her. Vulnerable. He'd shown her the daycare registration and given her the choice, even knowing she might walk away. That meant something. She typed slowly. Maya, Lake Michigan tomorrow morning. 8 a.m. near Oak Street Beach. Bring the strollers. Neutral ground. Public. The kids as a buffer. Though she knew, deep down, that Ava and Theo weren't enough to stop the pull she felt toward him. If they'd been alone in his penthouse, she wouldn't have trusted herself. She would have leaned into him, let herself believe that the chasm between their worlds didn't matter. But it did matter. And she needed to see if they could bridge it. Met Adrian, I'll be there. The next morning was cold and clear. The kind of Chicago autumn day where the sky was impossibly blue, and the wind off the lake smelled like water and distance. Maya arrived first, pushing Ava in the stroller. Ava had insisted on bringing her favorite blanket, soft pink fleece fraying at the edges, and was humming to herself, content. Adrian appeared a few minutes later, Theo bundled in a jacket, clutching Llama 2. Their eyes met across the path. Maya's heart kicked. He looked tired, but steady. Hi, Adrian said. Hi. Theo waved shyly at Ava. Ava waved back, grinning. They started walking side by side, the strollers rolling over the uneven pavement. The lake stretched out beside them, endless and gray-blue. For a while, neither of them spoke. Then Adrian said, I've been thinking a lot these past few weeks about how I approach things, how I've always solved problems with money or control or sheer force of will. It worked in business, but it made me a stranger to my own son, and I almost lost you because of it. Maya looked at the water. And now? Now I'm learning to ask instead of assume, to listen instead of fix. It's harder, but it's better. He glanced at her. I don't want to do that with you, with us. I don't want to control or manage. I just want to show up. Maya's throat tightened. I've been scared. Of this. Of you. Of how different our worlds are. Adrian stopped walking. Different how? She gestured vaguely. Adrian, you're a billionaire. You live in a penthouse. You have a doorman. I live in a one-bedroom on the south side and buy the store-brand cereal because the name brand is $2 more. I don't care about that. I know you don't. But I do. Her voice wavered. I don't know how to step into your world without losing myself. I don't know how to be with you without feeling like I'm less. You're not less, Adrian said fiercely. You're the strongest person I know. You're raising a child alone, finishing your degree, working 2 jobs, and still managing to show up for other people. That's not less. That's incredible. Maya's eyes stung. But what happens when you get tired of slowing down for me? When the reality of what my life looks like, the tight budget, the long hours, the lack of... She gestured at him. All of this. What happens then? Then I'll still be here, Adrian said quietly. Maya, I'm not asking you to fit into my world. I'm asking if we can build one together. One that works for both of us. She looked at him, really looked at him, and saw the truth in his eyes. Okay, she whispered. Let's try. They started walking again. I brought something, Adrian said after a moment. He stopped, pulled a folded piece of paper from his jacket pocket, and then handed it to her. Maya unfolded it. It was the consulting agreement. She read it carefully. Most of it was what they'd discussed before. Contractor status, hourly rate, her schedule taking priority. But 2 things were new. The hourly rate had gone up. $75 standard, $100 for travel. More than they'd originally agreed on. And there was a privacy clause, explicit, ironclad. All communications regarding Maya or her family to external parties require Maya's explicit approval. He'd learned. You changed the rate, she said. You're worth more than $50 an hour. You were always worth more. And this, she pointed to the privacy clause. I should have had that from the beginning, Adrian said quietly. I won't make that mistake again. Maya pulled a pen from her bag and made 2 small edits. She changed the payment timeline to 3 business days instead of 5. And she added a clause specifying that any session could be rescheduled without penalty if a clinical emergency arose. She handed it back. Adrian read her changes and nodded. Done. He pulled out his own pen and signed at the bottom. Maya signed below him. They stood there, holding the contract between them. Does this mean you'll coach me again? Adrian asked quietly. Maya folded the paper carefully and tucked it into her bag. Yeah, I will. Adrian exhaled, relief flooding his face. But there's something else we need to talk about, Maya said. The daycare. Adrian tensed. You don't have to. Let me finish. Maya took a breath. I've been thinking about it, a lot, and I looked at the details you showed me, the location, the hours, the curriculum. It would help. A lot, especially when I start working as an RN, if I pass the NCLEX. When you pass, Adrian corrected gently. Maya smiled faintly. When I pass, my schedule's going to be brutal. 12-hour shifts, rotating weekends, on-call nights. And the cafe can't give me the flexibility I'll need. So if the offer still stands, it does. Then I accept it. But on one condition. What? I'm accepting it as compensation. For the coaching work I did. Not as charity, not as you fixing my life. Her voice was firm. And I'll pay you back for the deposit, over time. We'll set up a payment plan, and I'll stick to it. Adrian started to protest, then stopped. He was learning. Okay, he said. On your terms. On my terms, Maya agreed. She held out her hand. Adrian took it. They shook, formal and deliberate, but neither of them let go. Maya looked up at him, and the distance between them, the careful space they'd been maintaining, felt impossible to hold anymore. Adrian, she said softly. Yeah? I don't want to be scared anymore. I want to try. I want to see what this could be. If you're willing to be patient with me while I figure it out. Adrian's eyes went bright. He stepped closer, his hand still holding hers. I'll be as patient as you need, he said, voice rough. I'm not going anywhere, Maya. I promise you that. Then kiss me, she whispered, before I lose my nerve. Adrian cupped her face in his hands, thumbs brushing her cheekbones, and kissed her. It was soft at first, careful, a question. Then Maya's hands fisted in his jacket, pulling him closer, and the kiss deepened, no longer careful, no longer a question, an answer, a beginning. When they finally pulled apart, both breathless, Adrian rested his forehead against hers. I've wanted to do that since the plane, he admitted. Maya laughed, shaky and bright. Me too. From the strollers behind them, Ava's voice rang out, delighted and curious. Mama, are you kissing Mr. Adrian? Maya turned, face flushed, and saw both kids staring at them with wide eyes. Maybe, Maya said, trying not to smile. Ava giggled. Does that mean he's staying? Maya looked at Adrian, eyebrows raised. Adrian crouched down to Ava's level. Can I stay, Ava? For coffee? And maybe longer? Ava considered this very seriously. Then she nodded, solemn as a judge. Okay, but you have to be nice to Mama. I will, Adrian promised. Always. Ava seemed satisfied. She turned to Theo. Your daddy is staying. Theo grinned. Good. They continued walking, the four of them, and found a small cafe near the beach, the kind with wobbly tables and paper cups, nothing fancy. Adrian bought coffee and pastries for everyone, and they sat outside despite the chill. Theo and Ava shared a blueberry muffin, passing it back and forth between them like a negotiation. Maya and Adrian sat close, knees touching under the table. So, Adrian said, stirring his coffee, what happens now? Now. Maya smiled. Now we figure it out. Slowly, one day at a time. No rushing. No rushing, she agreed. And no fixing. Just showing up. Exactly. Adrian reached across the table and took her hand. I can do that. Maya squeezed his fingers. I know you can. They sat like that for a while, just existing together. Two people learning how to build something real. And for the first time in a long time, Maya felt like she could breathe. 2 weeks later, Adrian stood in the Coal Dynamics boardroom for the rescheduled acquisition vote. The delay had cost them the Carlson deal. Their competitor had swooped in and closed it in 3 days. Whitmore had made sure everyone knew. But Adrian didn't flinch. He presented the caregiver policy pilot data instead. 18% drop in turnover in the departments that had implemented early versions. 22% increase in offer acceptance, measurably improved employee satisfaction scores. We lost one acquisition, Adrian said calmly. But we're building a company people want to work for. That's sustainable growth. That's long-term value. Marcus spoke up. The numbers support it. Retention saves us more than the acquisition would have gained in the first 2 years. 3 other board members nodded. Even Whitmore, grudgingly, didn't object. The policy pilot passed. After the meeting, Marcus caught Adrian in the hallway. You did it. We'll see. No, Marcus said. You did. And for what it's worth, you seem different. Good different. Adrian thought about Maya, about Theo's bedtime routines, about the consulting agreement folded in his desk drawer, about learning to ask instead of assume. Yeah, he he said. I think I am. 3 weeks after that, Maya stood in her apartment, newly renovated with the money she'd saved from consulting, finally big enough for her and Ava to breathe, and opened an envelope. National Council Licensure Examination Results. Candidate, Maya Bennett. Status, pass. She stared at the word until it blurred. Then she called her mama first, then Dr. Patel, who congratulated her warmly and offered her a permanent position on the pediatric unit, starting in 2 weeks. And then she called Adrian. I passed, she said when he answered, her voice thick with emotion. Maya, that's incredible. I'm so proud of you. Thank you. She wiped her eyes. I couldn't have done it without the consulting income. It gave me the space to focus. You earned every bit of it, Adrian said firmly. And you earned that license. This is all you. There was a pause. So, Adrian said, and she could hear the smile in his voice. Coffee after nap? It had become their routine. Saturday mornings at the lakefront cafe. 2 strollers, 2 kids, 2 people figuring out how to build something real. Yeah, Maya said, smiling. Coffee after nap. 6 months later, on a bright spring morning, Maya and Adrian sat at their usual wobbly table outside the lakefront cafe. It had become their Saturday ritual, coffee after the kids' naps, the 4 of them together, watching the lake and the people passing by. Sometimes they talked about the week. Sometimes they just sat in comfortable silence. Today, Theo and Ava were on the grass nearby, drawing with sidewalk chalk. Theo was carefully outlining a dinosaur. Ava was adding what she insisted were flowers, but looked more like colorful scribbles. They're good together, Maya said, watching them. Yeah. Adrian reached across the table and took her hand. We're good together too. Maya smiled. It still felt new sometimes, this ease between them, this sense of rightness. But it was real. They'd built it slowly, carefully, day by day. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen. Unknown number. Hold on, she said, answering. Hello? Hi, is this Maya Bennett? A woman's voice, friendly and slightly harried. Yes? This is Sarah from Bright Horizons Preschool, Ava's school. I'm calling for Adrian Cole, actually. We have his number on file as an emergency contact for Theo and you're as secondary, but it went to voicemail. Maya's stomach tightened. Is everything okay? Oh, yes. Nothing's wrong. We just found something in our garden shed during spring cleaning. A stuffed animal, a gray llama. It's been there since last fall, I think. One of the tags has Theo's name on it. Maya's breath caught. She looked at Adrian. They found it. Adrian's eyebrows shot up. The llama? The llama, Maya confirmed. She turned back to the phone. We'll come pick it up. Thank you so much. She hung up and stared at Adrian. They found the original, she said, something warm and bright blooming in her chest. After all this time. Adrian laughed, the sound surprised and delighted. Should we tell them now or pick it up first? Let's get it first, then we'll figure out what to do. An hour later, they stood in the preschool parking lot. Sarah had handed over the llama, slightly muddy, one button eye a little loose, but unmistakably Ava's. Maya held it, turning it over in her hands. What do we do? Adrian asked. Ava lent it to Theo. Technically, it's still hers. But Theo has llama too now, Maya said, and he loves it. He does. They looked at each other. We could give it back to Ava, Maya said slowly, and let Theo keep llama too. Or, Adrian said, we could let them decide together. Maya smiled. I like that better. That afternoon, they gathered in Adrian's living room. Maya, Ava, Adrian, and Theo. The 2 llamas sat side by side on the coffee table. The original, worn and weathered. Llama 2, lumpy and loved. So, Adrian said, crouching down to the kid's level. The preschool found Ava's llama, the one she let you borrow, Theo? Theo held out the original llama, serious. Ava should have him back. Ava hugged it to her chest. I missed you. She squeezed Theo's hand. Thank you. Adrian ruffled Theo's hair. Good call, bud. Llama 2 can stay with you. Theo grinned, clutching the lumpy gray twin. I have 2 friends now. Ava hugged the llama. Thank you. She smiled at Llama 2. We can share him when I visit. Theo's face lit up. Really? Really? Ava replied. Thank you, Ava. Ava beamed. Maya looked at Adrian, and he was smiling, soft and unguarded, the kind of smile she'd come to recognize as pure joy. What do you think? Adrian asked her quietly. I think, Maya said, watching the kids, we're figuring it out. Yeah, Adrian agreed. We are. Theo stood up, holding both llamas, and walked over to the window. He looked out at the city, then back at the 4 of them. This is my family, he announced, very seriously. Ava nodded. Yep. Maya's throat tightened. Adrian reached for her hand, and she took it. Yeah, Maya whispered. This is our family. Later, as the sun dipped low over the lake, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, they took the kids back to the cafe. Their cafe. The one with the wobbly tables and paper cups and the barista who knew their orders by heart. 2 strollers. 2 llamas. 4 people who'd found each other in the most unlikely way. Not a rescue, a partnership. Maya leaned into Adrian's side as they watched the kids chase pigeons on the grass, laughing and free. As she shifted, the last rays of the setting sun caught the diamond on her left hand, making it gleam like a captured star. She smiled, looking down at the ring, her mind drifting back to the very spot they now sat, just 3 months ago. It had been an evening much like this one, the lake a sheet of molten copper. They'd been finishing their coffee when Adrian had suddenly stood, his face uncharacteristically nervous. He'd taken her hand, and then, to the utter delight of Ava and Theo, who were building a sandcastle nearby, he'd gotten down on one knee. Maya Bennett, he'd said, his voice thick with emotion, but clear and sure. You taught me how to be a father. You showed me that love isn't about fixing, it's about showing up. You are the strongest, most incredible person I've ever known. Build a life with me. Be my partner, my wife. Before she could even gasp, Ava and Theo had squealed in unison, scrambling over and wrapping their little arms around both of them, creating a laughing, crying, 4-person hug right there on the sand. It wasn't a question of if, but of with. With him, with them, with this family they had painstakingly built together. Now, sitting here, the memory washed over her with a warmth that had nothing to do with the fading sun. She looked at Adrian, his profile silhouetted against the golden sky, then at their children, their laughter carrying on the breeze. This was her life. This man, with his hard-won patience and his steadfast heart. These children, learning and growing and loving with a fierceness that still took her breath away. They were all a little messy, a little imperfect. But they were figuring it out, together, and she loved every minute of it. You know what I realized? Maya said, pulling herself back to the present. What? Adrian asked, his thumb stroking the back of her hand right over the ring. I'm not scared anymore. Adrian kissed the top of her head. Good, because I'm not going anywhere. I know. They sat like that together, as the world turned around them. One steady, imperfect, beautiful beginning. And that made all the difference. 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 And that made all